I really need to start taking vitamin B, don't I?
Hello and welcome to episode number 112 of Unrelenting. It's the Seinfeld of podcasts, no rights reserved. I am Darren O'Neill. He is Sir Gene. And
Perfect.
Did I get that right? Finally, I've been practicing.
You pronounced it correctly finally.
Have been looking through a lot of different things. The last show, remember we had some network issues?
We did.
It turns out the Umbro boxes are evil.
Ah.
And I have never run into a device, especially a Raspberry Pi, okay, it's not like it's some big ass machine that has the ability to just crash your entire home network. So, I mean, there's that. If you want to run the Bitcoin nodes and Lightning nodes yourself, these are the kind of things you have to deal with.
Get an Intel.
The one, and it was interesting because it wasn't just Umbrel, it was the RasBlitz. There's a couple different projects which allow people to run the node at home, right? So it's everybody that wants to run a Lightning node on a Raspberry Pi because the hardware is relatively cheap. And they had the issue with that as well. Somebody said they fixed the problem by putting the device behind a network switch. So I bought a $25 TP-Link managed switch, and then I put that behind another switch, and then that connects to the router where it was connected directly to the router. Well, the switch was already down in the basement. So this is how I run this jank system. I got a bunch of NAS systems in the basement. So I have a direct one line only. I mean, I really should run multiple.
No, I get it. That's how you warm up the basement.
Yes, exactly. In the winter, it keeps the basement nice and toasty. So I run the Cat 6 cable down from the router directly into the basement.
Okay. So you're doing 2.5 gigs?
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, the ability's there to do it. Most of the things that I have down there are just gigabit. So overall, it's kind of gigabit, which is why you don't want to. I noticed things like lag when looking at the directory in my music NAS drives because there's like 8 million things. It's a huge thing. So it doesn't open up instantaneously, which is kind of a pain. But it's fine for when I want to stream 1080p video from the basement. It's fine when I want to stream music. It's fine. But I run that one wired cable, which was already going into a switch, which has the 4 NAS devices plugged into that switch. Well, I now just plugged in another switch to that switch. So hopefully the switch to the router will fix the issues and we won't crash today or moving beyond. Or I just turn off the Umbrel device and throw it into the fire. But these are the things people never warn me about.
Bitcoins on there?
Yeah, I have no Bitcoins on there yet. All I have is the Bitcoin node synced, and I have the Lightning node installed, but I have not yet opened any channels. So right now it is just watching and that's how it crashed too. It wasn't anything extra beyond having the Bitcoin constantly updating the blockchain. And it's really not a lot of bandwidth, so I don't know if it was just misbehaving.
It's maybe a configuration issue and maybe a some kind of networking bug in the firmware. Yeah,
and they did, of course, when I went to plug it back in, which was only 2 days after, because I unplugged it once I realized what it was, ordered the switch, and the minute I plugged the Umbrel in, it's like, oh, there's an update to the software. I'm like, of course there is.
No, my PC wants to restart.
Let me open. I've never opened up a can on the air here. I want to see if this, which is some beautiful liquid death severed lime, I want to know if the filters are going to take this out when we get the final show. Well, I could barely even hear that
noise.
Yeah,
I just heard a clicky sound.
That was it. I guess I should have put it right in front of the microphone because, directional and all, but it's the way, No Agenda does it. You're hearing, if during the show now, constantly, you're hearing somebody open up a can.
Popping the cans. It's a sound effect, dude. It's just a button.
The button. You could, that would be a lot easier, but then I wouldn't get to quench my thirst with the liquid death.
Well, you should be drinking iced tea instead.
Yeah, I will be moving more into iced tea. But see, when you do the iced tea, it's the caffeine. And then if I start pounding the caffeine early in the show, then I got a Bemrose during the show. No. You can get fairly low caffeine iced tea. It all depends on what it's made of. If you get green iced tea, there's no caffeine at all in there. I mean, I guess you could also just get a urinal too, one of them little things like you have when you're in the hospital and they just give you pee right into here, boy.
Yeah, I hear enough about that with people playing video games. I don't need to hear it on this show.
Wait, there are people. There were women that were so serious about the Taylor Swift concert that they wore
Don't turn off your computer
to go in and so they wouldn't have to leave their seats. So video gamers have, so they don't have to get up.
Oh, are you kidding? First of all, video gamers are men.
Well, right.
Which makes it a little easier, but
at least you can point it into something.
There are guys that seem like they're constantly saying, "Hey, let's take a bio break," and then there are guys that never say that.
Let's take a bio break.
Interesting. Why have you not stopped talking on this Discord channel for 8 hours?
Maybe it's a wireless. Maybe it's a wireless headset. Who knows?
Yeah. No, it totally is. I think for some people it's a wireless headset, but they're still yapping at it as they go take a leak.
Right. When you can hear that, there's the other sound effect of the.
Oh no! Everybody's hitting. No. They're very good at isolating the noise from that.
You want to really get it up in the mix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I remember I was talking to one dude a couple of days ago, and I'm like, we're still chatting. It's like an hour later, and you said you were gonna take off and use the restroom. He's like, oh yeah, no, I'm good.
I did. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, while we were talking, don't worry about it.
I mean, I guess it was hopefully just onesies. I mean, otherwise, you never know.
Well, you never know, I guess. But yeah, I mean, look, if I couldn't tell, I guess what difference does it make?
Then why did you tell me afterwards? That's the question.
Yeah, well, because I was trying to be, conscientious after an hour of still talking and say, oh yeah, you were trying to leave. Sorry.
Right, you were trying to go pee, and he's like, no, I got to take care of it. Either that or you talk so much that there was a 3-minute point where you just were saying stuff that nobody was listening. There are plenty.
Does that ever happen to me? Do you think?
Probably. I know Bemrose did it a few times, and I caught him, and then he got.
You caught him.
He got shy about it because there's nothing worse than in a podcast where you're like, okay, so what do you think, Gene? And then there's silence.
All right.
It's like, oh no, sorry, gotta come
especially
back.
When they're normally not.
Right, quiet at all.
Right.
That's how you know.
All right, I just rebooted. I'm good to go.
Your Windows machine rebooting.
I know. It's like I love doing the podcast on a different machine.
I was following still the Lego guy in Canada who has bought a warehouse to build a studio in. So it's like we are way in the wrong fucking jobs because we can't afford to go build a warehouse to play podcaster in with the money we're making.
What are you talking about? Well, I did that years ago.
Yeah,
I had the Austin podcast studio. I went broke. Exactly.
It didn't quite work out.
Totally. No, dude, that's because I was shelling out like $3,000 a month for studio rental.
Yeah, well, this guy bought the place, which is even worse.
So he's shelling out even more than $3,000 a month. Yeah.
And they people on his channel, I guess, talked him into buying a Mac because he wants to do 4K video now, which I know you love. I don't think the channel deserves more than 1080p, but that's just me.
I mean, honestly, you ought to be doing 8K video.
Right. This is the thing. If you're not at 8K right now, you're already behind the ball.
You're kind of.
And they convinced him to get a Mac, and it lasted like less than 2 days before he returned it. because I don't know.
Oh, he's an idiot.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know how to use the Mac. And then he went and bought some other gaming machine, and he was really impressed that when he hit render, he could hear the fans come on. I'm like, asshole, don't you get with the Mac? It's quiet for a reason.
Yeah.
And it was he bought the Mac Mini Pro, which I was like, for 4K.
Oh, yeah, it's the one you want, right?
Well, I've been going back and forth because, I mean, one, I don't do video rendering, but what if I want to? And that's what everybody does with a computer. This is how you spend way too much money, because it's always, but what if I want to?
I mean, the big secret is today, literally any machine of $1,000 can do 4K video rendering.
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
It's just depending on the speed.
Max selling point is they can do 4 or 8 or 16, depending on which machine you get, of real-time continuous 4K rendering at the same time.
Yes. And the Studio has 2 totally independent graphics cards, or whatever you want to call them, in the way Apple does it, which does cut your rendering time down to half because they do scale. So it's like, yeah, if you're doing 4K video, the Mac Mini is fine, and it will do the job about real time. So maybe a minute per minute of video.
Oh, it's faster than that.
Is it? Well, the Studio would be twice as fast as whatever the.
Yeah, even my old Mac Mini that, as you remember, I bought and sat in the box for a year.
Right, the Intel one.
No, not the Intel one. The M1.
Oh, right, the first one.
Yeah, because they're on to what, M3 now?
Well, yeah, so they're talking M4, which also makes me never want to buy one.
Yeah. Even that one will do video rendering about at the same speed. It's really not any faster or slower than the gaming PC that I've got, which is a purpose-built $3,000 PC.
Right. Well, because the Macs are kind of tweaked for doing video rendering.
Yeah.
It's like it is for the people doing YouTube channels.
It's a big segment of their buying market.
Yeah. The question from No Beret: how can one not know how to use a Mac? Well, that's the question, isn't it? It's not that different than Windows. When it comes to, I mean, there's different shortcuts.
Yeah, I guess he couldn't find the Windows button on the keyboard, so he gave up.
Right. I don't know how to do this. It's like, I don't know. I would have, because then when he bought this other machine, and then he was like, well, I have to take the other one back first. I would have taken the same video files that you shot for your 20-minute 4K and then rendered them side by side to see which one is going to do better. Yeah.
And if you're using Adobe software on both machines, user interface is identical.
Right. He was using DaVinci, but that also the same.
Oh, same thing.
Yeah.
Identical. Yeah. That's what I have as well. I really need to cancel my Adobe subscription. It's now middle of April. I haven't used it once this year.
But you got a great deal on it.
I got a great deal that I haven't used once.
Yeah. That's not good. Today's show.
I get a great deal every year and I cancel it every year.
Right. Like, I got it. It's going to be awesome.
I'm
use
going
it
to try
all
and
the
use
time.
it this year. I haven't used it at all.
I mean, of course, if I do dip my toe back in the Mac world, I don't know if I would stick with the Adobe Audition or go, because I really liked using Logic Pro X back 10 years ago when my buddy Tom recorded all the music here.
Yep.
And that was beautiful software, just worked with the plugging everything in through the physical mixer, which was, a lot of fun. But we'll see which software. And I mean, the one thing I love about the Mac form factor is it is very small. It is very quiet. And probably works a little bit more.
Well, and honestly, that's one of the differences between the Mini and the Studio is the Mini doesn't have a fan.
Well, it's there's none at all in that one.
I don't believe so. No,
I know they got big sinks in it. Cottongin's using an M1 MacBook Pro right now, and I thought about it for a brief minute. Then I remembered reading something because Woot had one of the M1 Studio Ultras, which would have sold for like $4,000.
I think it's an M2 Studio Ultra. I don't think they made an M1 Studio Ultra.
No, it was, because the M2 is the current one. There was an M1, but the problem was, I think it was very short-lived because the scaling did not work properly. So you didn't get that boost if you were doing video rendering. So Woot had them, those $4,000 machines for like 24 or something the other day. And I'm like, oh, that's a good deal. Then I'm like, wait, I heard something about these. The M1 Ultra, which is also confusing. It's bad enough that you've got, it's the M1, M2, M3. I get that. But when it's the M1 or the M1 Max or the M1 Ultra or the M1 whatever, it's all those little variations that they do.
That was 2 years ago that the M1 Ultra came out. Yeah, I thought it was M2. I guess it's an M1.
So that one you have to beware of getting a really good deal on, because otherwise the difference between the low end M2 Studio and the year, we have the Ultra should be
M3, the M3 Pro and the M3 Max now.
Yes. Which they don't have, which is like, why aren't you updating all of your machines at the same time? Why don't you have the studios with M3s yet? They're like, well, they might not ever do M3 with the studio. They might go right to M4. Insane. Cotton Gin says, sees no reason to upgrade to M2 or M3. Well, to give Apple more money, Cotton Gin, geez.
They're 2.5 times faster.
Which, again, this is where you have to put everything into some kind of context. As you said, hey, I'm taking my $2,000, $1,500 gaming rig, whatever it is, and my $500 Mac Mini is just as fast doing the video rendering.
Yeah, so it's a 3.5-year-old $3,000 gaming rig. So I'm coming up to get that replaced.
It's about every 3 years for me. I find I'm like, I need a new one.
I'm down to 4 years. I used to do it every year, but at this point, I'm like, once every 4 years is enough, because you can't. Right now, I just priced it out. It's going to cost me $3,500 minimum.
Well, yeah, because you want to have the ultimate gaming rig.
Yeah. Well, that's why every 4 years I buy whatever is the top of the line at that point in time, and I got one. I managed to get one for $3,000 last time. Can't do it this time. It'll be closer to $4,000.
Well, this is also the lies that we tell ourselves of. If I buy that $4,000 machine, then I could go 5-6 years between.
Yeah, I'm not telling myself that.
Because still 2-3 years later, you're like, I need something new.
Yeah.
Today's show.
To be fair, there's really only one game that would see a benefit in doing that.
Was that the one that's still in alpha?
Yeah, that'd be the one.
Star Citizen.
It's such a frustrating game. I was about ready to hit my head against the wall with it yesterday.
Does it play on the Mac Mini?
No, it does not.
I would like to point out today's show is brought to us by Dale from Down Under.
Nice. Hey, Dale, how you doing?
Coming in with 159.81. He says, hope this finds you well. Both doing well, gents. Belated birthday wishes to Sir Darren O. So it's 154.70. So 54 from age, 70 for the year, plus fees, which is very much appreciated.
Oh, I get it. Okay, 70 of the year of birth.
Which is
you're closer to 2070 now, right?
Yeah. Your death. I mean, I probably don't plan on being around here in 2070. So somebody else will have to take over the show.
Yes, the 22nd century is looking like it's right around the corner.
It'll be here before you know it, kids. Prepare. He says, comrades, after the events of the last show, the coveted Unrelenting Podcast Helmet Award goes to Sir Gene of the Texas Clan. It's just the way that sounds. I love
I know, the Helmet Award.
Yeah. The Podcast Helmet Award. Tragedy struck. He says, I had to do some real work. When the boss walks in with a cup of tea, how you like it, something's up. For the record, I like my tea how I like my women, white and weak. Yeah, Dale's doing a whole different show. I love this.
I know. It's great.
He said, speaking of, it was Black History Month while everyone was talking Tay-Tay. Well, her album did come out today, which I thought was the reason why the big donation from Dale is it is release party day.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's why.
Taylor has delighted about half of her fan base and pissed half of her fan base off, which I always love because she released the album, as they would normally do at midnight. I remember back in the day, the only thing I recall going to a record store. Do we have to explain to people what record stores are? Are they old enough? For Bruce Springsteen's live album when it came out in like 1988. That's the only thing I ever remember going to a record store at midnight. Because for the big releases, then it was like, hey, we want to sell it to you first. And went for that one. Now it's just, Amazon will deliver it to you. It's fine. But 2 hours after the new digital version of the album was released, oh no, it's actually double that. So
what do you mean double that?
The vinyl and the CDs that were released at midnight were like 16, 17 songs. The new digital version released 2 hours afterwards, 31 songs.
Oh, holy shit. So she's outsourcing China now or what?
Probably. This is one, it's a lot of music.
I don't see a middle-aged white woman doing 31 songs.
It's a lot for one release.
We're
used to the people like Bruce Springsteen.
That'd be like a new TV show coming out with 24 episodes a season.
Well, it'd be like 24 episodes a week is kind of what it seems like.
Instead of 8.
Yeah. Well, we have to pull it back. The workload is way too much. But my original thought is like, I don't care because I just buy them to flip them and the prices still go up and that's fine. But for the people who care about such things, like, well, I want to be able to listen to it. It's like, well, you sold me half a record.
You're just pretending you're a fan. You're actually just mercantile.
The music is good. It's good background music. It's still, I wouldn't put it as, if you were to ask me who my favorite all-time artists are, Taylor would probably eke in around 10th.
I'm thinking it's like Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Without Young, though, they sucked without Young, man. I mean, I would still rather listen to overall and have listened to overall more Sinatra and Dean Martin. I still love
there you go.
That stuff. I love Springsteen, especially the early pre-1984 stuff. Tom Petty, Dire Straits, Mark Knopfler, his whole catalog is fantastic. See, the thing is, I don't like a lot of pop music. So when I want to listen to it, I still prefer a female voice. And overall, there's not many out there that I listen to.
Yeah, when you're in the mood to hear about girl problems.
Right. I'm not listening to Jewel or nobody's listening to Sheryl Crow because she's complaining now she can't make any money.
Well, Sheryl Crow is like 65. So I know. I don't even know who she is anymore.
She released her latest album like 2 weeks ago. It's the first time it didn't even hit the Billboard 200. So that's got to be a sad day for somebody but then also to come out and complain with, I can't make any money. It's like, I told that to my buddy Larry.
It's clearly sexist.
Right. Obviously. I told that to my buddy Larry over on Planet Rage. And he's like, didn't she sell like 20 million records of her? It's like, you did not put your money in the right place if you're broke at this point. Because you made a lot of it. And most people.
She was in a bunch of movies too.
Was she?
Yeah.
I mean, I know she did a bunch of TV shows too.
Yeah.
So she did her thing. She should have made her money. There's going to come a point, even in the career of a Taylor Swift, who is the super money-making machine now. In 20 years, I wouldn't expect her to be making any money.
Right.
It's just the way it goes. Now, there are rare artists like Springsteen, because of the touring shows, still makes a ton of money.
Yeah, fuck those guys. There was a article I saw of some dude, I think it was John Mellencamp, arguing with his audience.
Yes.
Hey, how about I play less for you guys now? Because fuck you.
Yes.
You like that? Huh? How about I do 10 songs fewer from this show so you get to hear less of. What a dick, man.
Well, I guess he was spouting Biden stuff. And this is where.
Yeah, he was spouting Biden. Does he not realize that those people will have legitimate cause to get their money back?
Yes. Well, yeah, especially when you say I'm cutting the show short.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, congratulations, John. You're now upside down because the show costs more than the money it made because people got refunds. Dumbass.
You have to understand that most likely half your audience thinks different politically than you do, whether you're Ted Nugent or whether you're John Mellencamp. Either way.
Yeah, and most of these quote-unquote creative types are absolutely clueless about politics to begin with, regardless of which side they're on.
Right. Somebody told them something.
Saying, yeah, like opening your trap and talking about a topic that literally everybody sitting in front of you knows more than you about, probably not the best move.
Surly Mofo in the troll room. Trollroom.io says, quote, I don't like pop music, says the Tay-Tay fan. But that's like the only pop music I listen to. I mean, I don't listen to Olivia Rodrigo. I don't listen to...
How do you even know these names? I don't know who that is.
Because I go to the Target site looking for vinyl and I run across... And every day, I may or may not look at every album that's been released so I can either acquire or non-acquire it by some digital download means. It's like, I don't listen to... I mean, you can go to my Last FM page. It's Ozzy Ball. And you can see I listen to a lot of Taylor Swift, but I listen to nothing else in the pop realm. So it's an oddity. And it's only because she started as a country artist when I was listening to country. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't even listen to Taylor Swift.
Yeah, but a lot of people started as country artists.
Well, what is country now? This is the other thing.
I don't know.
That is way weird for me. Again, while going through every release when they come out, there are plenty that are listed as like alt country. So I click on it and I take a sample of it and it's like, this is not country at all.
I think country is just like Christian rock.
Maybe.
At this point.
Like we really don't have any way to put a genre on it. We have to call it something. The country I liked is the tear in my beer country, you know? Yeah. Well, that's Hank Williams Jr. And then I really enjoyed, and he's disappeared for a while now, which was Hank Williams III, which is Junior's kid who did different sets. And an average show of his was broke down into 3 parts. The first part, very hillbilly country, very acoustic. Right. Then he went into more of a mosh of that and metal. And then the last bit was death metal, pure death metal. The harshest stuff you can imagine. That was a lot of fun. But the country that he did was fantastic, man. It was, the other stuff was decent as well. But the country, that was the kind of country that I liked. The stuff that had plentiful attitude, a lot of really bad words. Taylor using a lot of bad words in this album, which it just doesn't seem to work for her for some reason. Maybe it's just
because he's a middle-aged white woman.
Yeah, that's probably it. That is probably it. But a lot of the fans were upset then because they're like, wait, you sold me half a fucking album. This thing that you had me buy, this CD, this vinyl that you had me buy is only half the fucking songs. And now I have to go pay again if I want a digital, to pay for the digital download. And it's like, when they offer the full album, they may never. But it's like, why would you do that? It's just dumb marketing to be like, everything you just bought was only half of what there is. Yay. That would be like, hey, everybody, you have to pay for the show. And then halfway through the show, like, oh, if you want to hear the end of the show, you now have to pay again. It's horrible. But that's marketing in 2024, I suppose.
I don't see that as horrible at all.
I'm still on Dale's line. I like my tea like I like my women, white and weak.
Weak, yeah, exactly.
We don't have a way to contact Dale, so you can't complain to him. Sorry. He says both the U.S. and U.K. have repair and refit agreements with the L&T shipbuilding yard near Chennai, Chenni, India. 2 UK ships currently and 1 UK ship soon, I believe. Both have several through the last year. Can't maintain them. Sure can't build them. Well, maybe this is something to do. I mean, I know there's a lot of talk about the hitting of the bridge when it came to the those big ships. And,
the barge?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen? He says, what's the deal with the new Russian heavy lift rocket, Sir Gene? How many tons of caviar and blood diamonds can you get to the moon, Dacha?
Yeah, exactly. That's a hilarious question, actually. Because, of course, that's exactly what you would have on the moon if you're an oligarch, is a dacha.
Well, and you have to bring your caviar. I mean, we all know you've got at least one caviar guy and probably a backup caviar guy just in case the first caviar guy something happens.
Yeah, you're actually exactly right on that. I do have 2 caviar guys, but I don't buy caviar very often. That's fucking expensive shit, man.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that the point? Does anybody really like caviar, or is it just, well, it's expensive, so we have it.
It tastes really good, dude. It really, like, back when it didn't used to be all that expensive, I ate it a lot.
With your sushi on Mondays?
No, way before sushi. I've been eating caviar since I was a little kid.
Got those Caviar Dreams. Gene did not get a bottle of formula. He was little Richie Rich. They had him in his golden little high chair.
Yeah.
Here, little Gene, have some caviar.
Yeah, I never had a high chair.
Where did you sit? On the floor or?
No, on a regular chair, man.
He's like, I am big enough. The beard was already starting too.
Exactly. The beard started when I was a little kid, sitting and eating caviar with a spoon.
Dale says, with winter and long cold nights approaching down here, I'm wondering when the Senpai Sir Gene body pillow is hitting the merch store. What do you want? Is this a thing? Do people want to sleep with a representation of Sir Gene?
Oh my God.
And then that brings the question of the beard back as well. Is it something that is etched onto the body pillow, or do we actually need to add hair on the outside of the body
Jesus.
pillow?
That's a horror movie.
Yes. We need a merch store though. You have a good point there, Dale. We need a merch store.
You know, they do have those like full length body pillow things with the pictures of people on them in Japan.
It's a thing they do.
It's a little bizarre. I mean, I get the long pillow because sometimes, you know, especially if you're sleeping on your side or something, it's cozy to have something right next to you.
Yeah, it keeps you from flopping around, I would guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if you ever slept aboard a yacht where they've got
of course, when you have a caviar guy, that's
fuck you.
That's being helicoptered in while you're out on the seas.
Where they have a sea berth, so it kind of like you have I guess I would sort of describe it as a halfway mix between a bed and a hammock.
Makes sense.
So it kind of keeps you from rolling around when the boat is jostling left and right.
How many people out there have slept on a yacht? Let us know.
Everybody slept on a yacht. How could you not have?
I don't know. Where's yours? Where is yours currently parked? Where do they call it? Berthed, whatever. Where is the Sir Gene yacht? We can all go down, have a party.
Yeah, Sir Gene doesn't have a yacht.
Oh.
Sir Gene was on other people's yachts.
That's a way cheaper way to go. No question
Sir Gene
about
learned
it.
his lesson by buying a boat.
Yeah, when you think you're right, because you think it costs a lot of money to keep up with the latest video game machine,
dude. Yeah, exactly.
Got to keep up with the yachts.
Happiest 2 days of me owning a boat. Day I bought it, day I sold it.
It's always the way it is, and the second number was a lot less than the first.
It was half. The second number was half of the first number,
And what kind of time period between the two events?
3 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you bought that thing new, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because to see if you would have bought it used, you would have probably kept most of the value, but then you're buying problems.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a hardly used center console fishing boat.
Dale says, "Stay
Perfect
unrelenting,
for going out
mofos."
Fishing tuna.
You got a lot of fish with that?
Yeah, 0.
So it was well worth
that
the price.
Boat spent more time at the dealer getting electronics installed
to try to find the fish
than anything else. Yeah. I had
radar,
multiple
sonar.
Multiple sonar for fish finding. I had a deep sea one that goes down to 1,000 feet underwater.
Yep, this is the latest technology, boy. You put this in, the fish will be jumping on the
boat. Yeah, exactly. It was a jet boat, so it had no prop sitting in the water. So, I mean, this thing had like all kinds of electronic shit in it. And yeah, I went out fishing twice, I think. I went boating other times, but I went fishing specifically twice. Never caught a damn thing. One time I left the keys to the boat on the boat and it drifted away. That sucked.
Where'd I park my boat?
And here's the best part. Like, that wouldn't even matter because it had remote control. So I could control it from my iPhone.
Oh, that's even better. It's like a good drone.
Oh, yeah. It was totally like a drone. But I had not even turned on the keys on the boat to enable
so you couldn't get it
happen.
Back
so there was just the keys were just sitting in the boat as I went back to lock my car and came back and saw I forgot to tie it up. God damn it. This
is the true rich guy video game. You walk into Gene's house, there's a bunch of screens up, and you're like, what are you playing? He's like, yacht simulator.
Yeah, I have that.
But it's your real yacht that you're controlling.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's I like sailing, man. I've always enjoyed sailing. I kind of grew up sailing.
What was the name of the boat?
Boating was, I'm not a boat name person. I don't name animals or boats.
We have to, but it has to have a name, doesn't it? Like legally on the,
every good boat has a name, but legally it has a number. It was like OX56B or something.
Just rolls right off the tongue.
I know, right?
Was it flying?
Yeah, I think you only really have to name a ocean going vessel. I don't think you name stuff that's smaller.
You didn't name it like Caviar Dreams or anything like that.
Okay. Now that's a wild guess. I do have a spaceship named Caviar Dreams.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I am in your head, man.
It's for anyone that's a video game person. In Star Citizen, it is the 890 Jump, which is a luxury super yacht. And mine happens to be called Caviar Dreams.
Now, your actual boat, did it fly under the American flag, the Russian flag, the pirate flag?
The
Somali.
Cypriot flag.
Whatever works, I guess, wherever you are.
Yeah. Cypriot.
Dale says, stay unrelenting, mofos, and no, you, Dale, our friend, stay unrelenting, and thank you for being the only person to support the show. At least we know somebody listens.
That's a long-ass message.
Speedy
How
bubble.
did he fit all that into a 256 character limit on PayPal?
He sent an email. It's this new technology that
I'm not aware of that.
Speedy Bubble came in with 10,000 Satoshis and says, based on your, is it still a BLT discussion? I wanted to share a menu item from a local restaurant. The BELTCH sandwich. Bacon, eggs, lettuce, tomato,
Belch?
cheese, and ham. The Belch sandwich, yeah. On your choice of bread, though.
So it's a BLT plus cheese and ham.
Yes, an egg.
Oh, egg. Where's the egg fit in?
on the sandwich. Belch.
I mean, is it like a fried egg or a chopped egg? Or?
Oh, yeah, fried egg, which is what I put on the BLT that I made.
Huh.
Which is the one I made was just like it's a BLT with an extra fried egg and some cheese. But
doesn't the fried egg dribble out?
Yes. It got very messy, but it was delicious.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of messy foods.
Now, you could cook it just right so that the yolk was not liquid anymore.
Yeah, then it wouldn't taste as good. It's got to be a little liquidy.
Yeah.
No, I would probably take that whole thing and just wrap it up in a pita bread.
Well, that makes it less messy. That could be your choice of bread.
Tortilla.
Tortilla. I like a good tortilla or a pita.
Yeah, honestly, I prefer neither. I would take a crepe over both, but
What do you say? I'll take a crepe over both. That completely sounds like.
Yeah, people love to correct me, but they're actually wrong.
They are crepes.
They are crepe.
Crepe.
Yeah.
You got to be very careful. But
that's how you would pronounce it in Francais.
There's a thin line between crepe and crepe.
You can pronounce it crap and you're still close in crepe. Crepe is a purely American incorrect pronunciation.
Interesting. Got a.
You feel free to Google it in a French language site that has voice pronunciations, and what you'll hear, it's not the word crap, but it sounds closer to the word crap
than crepe. There were crepe places when I was a kid called the Magic Pan, and then they disappeared.
Yeah, I remember Magic Pan.
That was some decent stuff.
The other name for that is Swedish pancake.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Not Dutch. Dutch pancakes are like 1.5 inches thick, full of air. They're like inflated pancakes.
You're like, screw the Dutch, man.
They're baked pancakes. But Swedish pancakes are super thin crepes.
Darren Rundle just came in with $5.65 via PayPal and said, the boat stories were good. So thank you.
Stories.
We got lots of boat stories.
They're not stories, damn it. This is history.
It's the history of Sir Gene's boat collection.
I know. I'll tell you what. I got way more use out of my jet ski than my boat.
Well, it's more fun, takes less fuel, less maintenance.
Or
no?
Yeah, less maintenance for sure, less fuel for sure. I mean, arguable boats are fun too, but the thing about the jet ski, and this is where it comes down to, it's the maintenance. And I don't mean like changing oil. I mean like you go out and jet ski, all you got to do is just spray it down with a water hose and then plug it in so that it washes out the insides with a water hose. And that whole process takes like 15 minutes when you get home. With a boat, it's like an hour worth of crap you got to do after you're done using it for a full day.
Yeah, and you're like, I had my fun. Now I don't want to do work.
Yeah, that's the last thing. And honestly, instead of ever getting a boat, one of the best things I ever did was I was part of a boat club. So a boat club, if people haven't been in these, it's a great idea. It's basically a group or an organization or a company. I guess.
You time sharing a boat? Is this kind of what
it's
you're
essentially
doing?
a boat timeshare. Yeah. You're buying into the group, and then the group owns boats. The idea being that you don't need a boat 24/7. You don't even need a boat for 8 hours.
Well, it all depends on how you're trying to exfil yourself from the country. You may, in fact, need a boat.
Well, yeah, maybe, but it's a good way to get into boating without spending a boatload of money. Get it?
Wow.
Uh-huh.
This was how timeshares got started.
I think it's more expensive now, but when I did it, it was pretty damn reasonable. I was, I think it's $2,500 to get in. And then it was $350 a month. And then I could sign up on the website to
you're like, I want to take my lady out on the water
anytime I wanted to. Yeah. So they're basically in 4-hour blocks. And if nobody wants it, you take it for the whole day.
So are cheap hotel rooms, Gene, a little 4-hour nap.
Yeah, exactly. And the beauty is you show up at the dock and there's a boat sitting there fueled up, perfectly working, ready for you to take off. You get aboard, bring your crap aboard.
Of course,
buzz around for a while.
Right. A guy throws you the keys, says, have fun.
Yeah, exactly. You come back and you say, hey, it was making a weird noise. And you give him the keys back and you leave and you go home and you don't think about it. You don't care. And it just magically gets taken care of. So that was a great deal that I enjoyed. But, something in me kept saying, oh, but, if you had your own boat, then nobody else could use it.
Right. It's clean. It hasn't been defiled,
I was the one who had to clean it in that
right,
case.
Right.
Oh, it worked against me. So I highly endorse boat clubs.
Or being able to employ a staff of people to keep the thing maintained for you.
Sure. If you've got your own staff as well as a boat, it's kind of like having your own boat club. But I'll give you the example. So for $350 a month, I had access to boats that were readily available anytime I wanted to. A slip for a boat that you have yourself is more than $350 a month.
Oh, no question.
So for literally the cost of a slip or less, you actually get not just a slip, but you get the boat. And you don't even need a slip because it gets pulled up to the main dock anytime you're ready for it. So it was a heck of a deal. The only thing you got to pay other than that per month is for the fuel. Obviously, because...
And for the insurance, that was when...
No, that's included in the $350.
When the Podfather posted on social media, a guy in his rented plane, I immediately went to that Seinfeld episode of, you taking the insurance?
Yeah, no, you always decline the insurance. It's a scam. The insurance is a scam.
I'm going to beat the hell out of this machine.
Uh-huh.
With the plane, that's a lot harder to do, though.
Adam is enjoying renting planes. I talked to him about that. I said, you got plans to get a new one? Because, he used to have a plane.
They're like boats, very expensive to own.
Well, yes. And he's like, nope, not at all. This is way more convenient. I just call up, tell him when I need it, and it's sitting there ready for me. And he just pays hourly for it. So it's, I guess he's realized that it's better to just rent shit like that.
Again, unless you're using it with every regularity,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And they've flown out to, I think Nashville was their longest flight that Adam flew. Otherwise, Brooklyn, they've been flying to Dallas. They've been flying all over Texas.
See, Brooklyn 112 says boats are not for podcasters. Well, that's not true because you could build a whole studio in a boat.
You probably could. Yeah.
You could be floating around the Gulf. You could be floating around the ocean while broadcasting.
Hey, I'm half tempted. I'm not super tempted, but I'm somewhat tempted to pick up one of those mics that everybody seems to be using on YouTube. The Rode clip-on mic.
The big furry thing.
Yeah, that you just clip to yourself. Because if you're shooting YouTube videos, then that's kind of the mic of choice that everyone seems to use.
Yeah, it looks stupid, but I guess the audio quality is way better.
But it sounds good. I mean, It sounds very good. So I'm thinking like,
so you could walk around while podcasting.
That thing's only like $200.
Yeah, and it's wireless.
And it's wireless. So you could even have it on and do a podcast while you take a leak.
And it's way better than the people that just use their phone for the audio and hold it like 10 feet away. And it's like, dude, it sucks. Get a microphone.
Or talk into the bottom of the phone. That's always funny.
Uh-huh. I mean, at least the sound quality might be a little better, but if you're talking into not where the sound quality is
really good. But I'm very curious. We should get Bandra to get one for free because he seems to be able to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, be like, I want one of these.
Test it out.
Yeah, furry microphone.
It doesn't have to be furry, but you know what I mean. Like Rode makes it, and DJI. They both have models that look almost identical. They're wireless. They're all digital. They're high tech. They're rechargeable. And I think they're right around the $200 price mark. So they're not like crazy expensive. They're not a cheap mic by any stretch, but they're so much more portable than these RE320s.
Well, yeah, you can't really carry
Imagine with one of those, like if that mic sounds, let's say, within 80% of the quality you get with an RE320, which I think it does based on videos I've seen.
With the proper, I think, for people that know what they're doing and how to EQ it and the right filters to run it through.
Yeah.
That's where the magic is coming from on a lot of this.
Well, certainly for you it is, yes.
Where you have the filter that's able to understand the difference. Now, it doesn't work for everybody because sometimes I've run into when trying to clean up some clips, if the voice frequencies are too close to the noise frequencies,
sure,
there's issues. But as long as that's not the case, it's able to do a really good job.
But that's the whole benefit of having a lavalier mic, which is basically what those are. It's a lavalier with a fuzzy ball in it.
We like the fuzzies.
I think they're referred to as dead cats in the industry.
They look great when they're sitting there right on your shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, and no one seems to give a shit. Like, no one hides these things. They're just kind of dangling right next to your neck, usually, on the shirt.
And if you're not walking around, you don't need that. You could mic yourself.
You don't,
better,
but I'm just thinking from like a travel standpoint, because that's, like I'm not going to be bringing a 320 and a Motu on any kind of road trips.
Well, no, you should. When you're walking around, you should be holding that microphone.
Yeah.
And have that plugged into.
That's the other thing you see on YouTube videos. Yeah. Glad you brought it up. Is people will, instead of just clipping it to their shirt, they'll hold it in their hands and use it for doing interviews.
It's like, that's not what it's made for. But
and it's a literally a fuzzy rodent that you're holding up next to somebody's mouth.
Yeah. What do you think about that? I don't know. But I do applaud people that go the extra mile to get better audio, because there is nothing worse than a YouTube video recorded from the camera or the phone, whatever's recording the video, from like 5 feet away.
Yeah.
In a very crowded environment that has a lot of boomy echo. Like,
because the video from the phone looks great.
Yes, which is the crazy part about it. Because the technology it's the way it works.
The photos of the clips kind of prove that, because there were some unbelievably good photos people made. I made some as well, but I saw a lot of photos from other people sent in, and everybody's just shooting them on their iPhones. I was like, this is amazing quality.
And then if you
who
break
needs a telescope anymore?
Well, right. This is the technology is now in the palm of your hands, for better or for worse.
It really is. And I'm sure that if you pixel peep, obviously still like a pro quality lens and camera is going to give you better quality. But as somebody that's spent over 20 years with a camera in my hand, this is probably more like 30 years actually. But the quality of the iPhone is sufficiently high that you can get some great looking, high quality artistic shots, especially now that the iPhone has a high resolution, low compression mode as well. So you're getting like 48 megapixel images out of that thing.
Well, and we've talked about the filters, like the On One. They have a brand new denoise where you can take some old, photographs that were low light that otherwise you thought sucked because it was too noisy.
Yep.
And it does the magic, just like filtering out the sounds.
Yep.
Which is why professionals at all these things should be getting worried. Professional photographers, it's like, what's the reason? Why have them?
Yeah, and that's changed drastically. I think a lot of people have that used to do wedding photography have lost their jobs because people are realizing that the difference between a $5,000 wedding photo package and just telling your guests, feel free to take as many photos with your phone as you can.
Yes. And if you don't mind it being public, and most people don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, use this hashtag on Instagram and
exactly.
boom,
And,
there it is.
Well, people these days are into self-promotion for the most part. And yeah, you may not have, those perfect shots, but you're going to have a lot more shots and you're going to have a lot more candid shots, which are really the coolest parts of getting wedding shots is the candid ones, not the stage. Stand here, move a little bit to your left. Okay. Now tilt your head up, tilt it a little bit to the right.
Right.
Hold on. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Good. Let's do another one. Okay. Do I sound like I've done this before?
Yeah. The best shots are of the groom and the bridesmaid coming out of the closet after. Those are the kind of candid shots you're like.
Exactly. Those are great shots for. So we kind of glossed it over a little bit, but we started talking about a topic that was close to the new TV show that just came out on Amazon.
Yes,
which is I'm blanking out here. What the hell? I was just thinking about it. It's
B12, Gene. More B12.
What is B12?
Right, exactly.
What's B12? No, what the fuck is it called? I was just watching a bunch of videos on it, and I finished watching all the episodes already.
Stay hydrated, Gene.
You should know what it is. You're a TV person.
On Amazon, there's a new show.
Yeah, it's a video game show. It's Fallout. That's what it is. Fallout. So, did you watch it? Probably not.
No, I have not even heard of it.
Put it on your list.
I mean, I'm just catching up on episodes. So,
oh yeah, episodes was good.
Yeah, she's gone lesbian now in the show.
Yeah,
so
good. You got to the lesbian bit. Yes. That's a good part of it.
They're just hilarious. It is so spot on Hollywood.
It keeps you pushing the envelope into a direction where you didn't think it would go. But that is Hollywood. That's how it works. That show's as close to documentary as you can get.
Fallout, based on one of the greatest video games of all time. It says.
Yeah. And she went lesbian for her career.
Well, wouldn't most people for the right amount of money?
Yeah. I mean, I suppose.
So what is Fallout actually about?
Fallout is a video game. There's actually, it's more like 4 different video games over the course of 20 years. But this show, they set in the video game universe. It's not following the storyline of the video game. It's following its own storyline, but in the universe of the video game. And they did a very good job, I thought.
I do think it's interesting. Visit Vault 33 now. So there's...
yeah, exactly. Uh-huh.
What is Vault 33?
The main character is in Vault 33. So I'll give you the very high-level synopsis. This show has a alternate timeline from normal Earth. Although they don't talk about timelines, I'm just kind of putting into my own words. To where essentially they diverged in that the microprocessor was never invented. And so the show takes place actually in the future compared to us, but the music, the fashions, the attitudes are all from the 1950s.
You had me at Walton Goggins. I mean, that's he's usually pretty good. He's one of the main characters. He's kind of a bit part actor though, but in this one, he's actually one of the main characters. Well, he was great in Justified.
Oh, was he in that? I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, you got if you've not watched Justified, it is a series
I still got to watch that. I should.
That you will enjoy.
Yeah, I probably will. But he plays a cowboy, and so the show is very retro. You would love all the music. All the music in the show is from the 50s and 60s. So right up your alley. And in 2077, there is a nuclear war that happens where the United States and most of the world is completely bombed out with nuclear weapons.
Yeah, that's
But
so
before this
unrealistic.
happened-
We're not going to take all that time to get there.
Haha. But before all that happens, there's a company called Vault Tech that has been hired by the U.S. government to build a bunch of vaults all over the U.S. that each vault will hold up to 1,000 people. And the vaults are basically multi-level, huge underground bunkers. So that they're almost like miniature city. Well, probably not quite a city, but certainly like a village underground. And all the technology and the way that all the furniture, everything is very retro 1950s. But they have like robotics, and they have some things that are quite high tech as well. They're growing food underground there, and they even have these huge auditoriums with projectors, basically showing a sky and a skyline to make it look like you're underground.
To make it look like
you're outside. Yeah.
That's wild.
And the main character of this particular TV show starts off where she is living in one of these vaults. She's the daughter of the current main dude, whatever you want to call it, the guy that kind of runs the place. And the story takes place 200 years after the nuclear devastation. And her father gets abducted, and so she decides to set out into the nuclear wasteland to go find him. So that's the journey that she's on throughout the show.
That's the quest.
That's the quest. And it's the hero's journey.
Well,
and along the way, she meets all kinds of characters, good and bad, and all kinds of weird, crazy shit happens. And there are obviously plenty of people that did not make it into the vaults that nonetheless stayed on the surface and managed not to die. And then, so there are current people living on the surface, but they're all kind of Mad Max-ish. But the people in the vaults are like, they preserve this little
bit
sort
of society there.
Yeah, microcosm of 1950s looking and talking and thinking people.
It says action adventure, which I get, but it says animation also. What is there like some kind of?
I think there's no animation in this thing.
It's just that it's based upon a video game, I would guess, maybe.
Yeah,
that's what.
Yeah.
That's what Amazon has: an action adventure animation
for Fallout.
Yeah,
really?
Which I don't get.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that Fallout would be animation. There's literally no animation in it.
Well, I do have Amazon Prime, so I can watch this at any time.
You can watch it for free. It's only 8 episodes, like all the new shows these days.
Right. We don't have time to do more than 8 episodes.
No, season 1. And I posted on X, which I know you don't follow me, but I
follow you on X every day. I'm like, where's Gene, man? Why isn't he posting good stuff?
I posted a link to one of the fake TV commercials that the show has. And it is hilarious because the TV commercial is that actor dude that you like.
Walton Goggins?
That guy, yeah. And that's not a name that rolls off your tongue, man. I'm sorry.
No.
And he is doing a TV commercial for the vaults as they're starting to get sold. So they're being built and sold. And so he's like smoking nonstop in the ad, it's hilarious. Oh, and it's a black and white because their TV hasn't gotten to color yet.
Wait, no color? That's not realistic.
Well, the show's in color, but the TV in the show is not in color.
Oh, very confusing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that I posted that yesterday. You can just scroll down my X's.
I'll do that right when I can.
You can do it right now. We'll wait.
Scrolling down your X's. I was just seeing
Scroll down my X's.
Live 41 views
in Texas
on Unrelenting. We like Unrelenting. It's an Unrelenting show.
That's it. 41 peoples is all we've had. Click on something, listen for 2 seconds, and then leave.
Surging 6. Pfizer is deeply sorry. Can you train a lizard? Ben and Candace debate Israel. Wait, the whole country was debating Ben and Candace?
Yes. You should check that out at some point later as well.
Behind every strong, independent woman is a child support check. There's Gene going for the female listeners.
Yes, the female vote right there. Just saying things people think.
And what was you looking for here again? I forget. You have so much stuff that you posted.
It was a black and white commercial from the show. It should be real close to the stuff you mentioned.
Vault advert. Fallout 20. Wow, 2160p, man. That's a lot of P.
That's pretty good P they had back in the day.
And now it's we got to turn that volume down. Galaxy News. Vaultech presents.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's Cooper Howard. Walton Goggins. Doing a very Twilight Zone appearance thing.
Exactly. It has total Twilight Zone vibes. So if you want to see the ad, to go look through my X. And by the way, follow me on X. I need to remember to keep mentioning that to get more people. I'm happy I finally got over my threshold there to monetize on X.
Ooh, well, you got 290 people following you.
I got a lot more than that.
Not what it said.
Mm-hmm.
What did I miss here? Sir Gene TX. Oh, I'm sorry. 290 following 542 followers.
Yeah, I'm following 290 people.
Unlucky Irish chick is a verified follower of yours. Whose pronouns are "you're retarded, leave me alone." This sounds like
it's pretty good. Uh-huh.
Yeah, a lot of people following you that aren't following me. We have a completely different
audience.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
We bring those two together for Unrelenting, and that's where the magic
happens. That's why
happens.
I retweeted the fact that we're on live now. That's a good thing.
Fallout sets up a season 2 Fallout in Vegas, says Karma King.
Yes. Next season will take place in Vegas, which is also setting in the video game itself.
Interesting. Just more stuff to watch.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. For people that have never played a video game, you don't need to have played the video game. There's nothing that, like I said, it's not a recreation of the story from the video game. It's just in the universe of the video game. So you can literally come into it knowing nothing about the video game and still very much enjoy the TV show. The girl who plays the main character does a great job, which is, very beneficial because she's a pivotal character in it. And she just has that kind of goody two shoes kind of attitude, which is what everybody in that vault has. Like, they don't swear. They're very polite to each other. Everyone's got a smile on their face all the time. So she's completely unprepared for the real world of post-apocalypse surface level.
As all children are today, totally unprepared.
Yeah. Well, and by child, I mean she's not an actual child. There's actually sex in the show, but
there's actual sex? As opposed to
it's talked about. It's not actually performed in front of the camera, but it's definitely talked about.
It is TVMA, though, so there must be some salty language somewhere.
Oh, there's salty language, and there's monsters and stuff, but it's there's a lot of violence, as you would expect in the post-apocalyptic Mad Max type future.
We should have a jingle for this segment, like Gene describes a television show.
I do that regularly.
I know. which is why we need a theme where Gene describes a television show.
Okay. All right.
It'd be great.
But I think you'll enjoy it, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it. And this is literally like the opposite in terms of the actors and the writers and what they thought of the story and the video game. Like everybody is very like, we have to stick true to the style and the canon material, and canon has to be followed, compared to like what Disney is putting out, all that crap where they basically just shit over everything that's been done in the past, whether it's Star Wars or whether it's Sleeping Beauty. Like they just shit all over everything. There's no shitting going on in this show.
Breaking, Gene, breaking. A Boostergram 3333 from comic strip blogger. Fallout TV show sucks.
Oh,
only episode 4 is interesting because organ harvesting robot is in it. No robots and no AI in other 7 episodes. By the way, follow me on X, slaves. 3 fucking letters, CSB.
Yeah, he's completely wrong about the show.
You guys can all talk about it on X, CSB and Sir Gene TX.
Except CSB doesn't like his voice being on the air.
And me, Darren O'Neill, DarrenOneil. CSB, way easier.
CSB is clearly the easiest thing to spell on X. I think Sir Gene TX is pretty straightforward. Yours is tricky, man.
Yeah, because Darren can be spelled multiple ways, and O'Neill can be spelled multiple ways.
Yeah. And not only can, but there are people that are on X that have the wrong spellings of your name.
Yeah, bastards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. People are like, this ain't the guy I'm looking for.
In fact, I'm not even sure that's the correct spelling of your name, but it's the only one you could get on X.
It's the reverse Jedi mind trick thing.
Yeah.
I've only been, the last 3 days, I've been watching television from Dale's Land Down Under. The Lego Masters show? Australia is on. So,
oh my God,
the wife digs Lego, and it's as far as all the Lego Masters shows
she
go.
Buys all your food.
True.
You're watching.
Well, I order it. That she has to pick it up. That's part of it.
You saw that cartoon that CSB did,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
CSB's always hating. I don't understand why he's so mean.
He's the biggest hater who donates money.
So that's what we've been watching. Lego Masters Australia. It's way better than the one in America. The one in America, they've got like a 2 people from Lego, like a chick and a guy that are like their experts. And then it has, what's his name? That is the MC. The comedian. Why am I blank? See, we're both getting way too old to do live shows because we're obviously
live shows. I know
we can't remember anything. Where at least
that one guy who's I can picture his face, have no idea what he's called.
Exactly, that's the guy, the one that you're like. This is the guy you don't want to have to.
Is he in that show?
He's the guy, right? He's the one.
Oh, he is. Yeah,
he's the guy.
Right.
What? No, I don't want Lego Masters UK IMDb. Screw you. I need a Lego Masters
America.
Yeah,
America,
where everything's better, except it's not.
Yeah. So we keep having this
what's his name?
Bill. Will Rogers.
And how come it's like here's the funny thing on IMDb.
Yeah.
Oh, here it's okay. It was on top and I didn't see it. Will Arnett is the MC.
Oh, Arnett. Yeah.
Lego Masters Australia. It's a dude named Hamish Blake.
Oh, yeah. I know him. He's on the radio in Australia.
He's hilarious. He's way better as the MC of the show. And the Lego guy goes by Brickman, and he's way better. So the Australian show has been way more entertaining. And it's great due to the internet, because it's not technically available to watch anywhere in the United States. But, with the internet, 5 seconds after it's aired in Australia, it's all over the place, baby.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. If it's the Hamish I'm thinking of, he's the guy from the radio out there.
He's done a lot of different stuff, that Hamish Blake, comedy guy. He known for Hamish and Andy's Perfect Holiday.
Yep, that's the guy. Hamish and Andy. Mm-hmm.
Not Amos and Andy. That's different.
No, Hamish.
No, Hamish and Andy, not Amos.
Yeah.
That's a show that gets you canceled.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But hilarious if you can find the old TV and radio episodes.
Yeah. There you go.
Because sometimes racism was just funny, kids. Except when it came to the television show that it was black actors and black run. But because of where it started, I think Sammy Davis Jr. owned the whole thing. Then he bought it and then wasn't able to release it or make money on it because, it was deemed to be a racist piece of American history. It's like, well, don't you want people to know the history? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a weird world.
So we got some political shit happening.
In this world? No.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it is, or do we need to get hints?
Well, I know it's some Middle Eastern thing. I'm trying to remember what it was.
There's something going on in the Middle East.
There's some I was going to think of a clever way to phrase it by recalling the feud between the guys in Kentucky there. What the hell were their names? God, I suck.
The Hatfields and McCoys?
That's the one. So there's a little Hatfields-McCoy situation going on with Iran and Israel out there, where they've decided that each side is going to keep wanting the last word in edgewise by bombing the other side. And I don't see in either side letting the other side get the last word.
And that's exactly what's happening now.
Well, yeah, because they're bombing each other now.
And you're right. You never want to, when somebody has done that to you last, you're like, well, I have to throw some more then.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it never ends.
Yeah, that's exactly why it never ends.
It never will end. I don't know why
yeah.
It all is, we live in a society where the economics became a big thing for a while and still are. Because if Iran, for instance, needed...
No, you mean Iran.
Iran. What, is this another Midwestern accent thing people don't like?
Saying Iran is kind of like saying nuclear.
Nuclear energy. Iran so far
Don't
away.
Don't say nuclear. It's not a word.
Iran so far away.
I know.
Get away. That's where that's stuck in my head.
I just heard that yesterday. I was watching something and it had that music in it.
You're like, where's the video? Where's the guy with the big hair? He doesn't have it anymore. He's bald now, which is funny.
You know, we're competing with Matt Getz hosting Anna Paulina Luna.
Well, that guy's like a fucking pervert, man, isn't he? Matt Getz, doesn't he?
What?
Matt Getz, he was like accused of like sex trafficking and all this. And he somehow it like slid right off of him. I don't know how
probably
in this Me Too world.
Yeah, probably because he didn't do anything.
Because he paid some 17-year-old to cross state lines to do something or other.
Anna Paulina Luna is on it, so
I've heard that name from you. I don't know who that is.
She is my favorite rep in the House of Reps.
Oh,
she is a hottie. I got all her modeling photos.
This is how you base who you like in the House or the Senate. The hotter, the better.
Pretty much.
If
Dude,
Iran,
her photos of being in bikinis holding guns,
which is how she should always be when on the House floor.
Right?
Is she a senator or is she a representative?
She's a rep. She is from Florida.
Oh, well, see, it's always warm then. Bikinis are perfect.
Yeah, exactly. No, she's super cute. I mean, smart. And she was in the I can't remember what branch of the military, but she was in the military. She's got the uniform and everything. Not just wearing.
So this is how you know somebody was in the. This is how you verify somebody was in the military. They have the uniform and everything.
Yep.
That's verification.
That's how most people verify. Dude, the number of times that I've been wearing BDUs that somebody said, we thank you for your service.
Yeah.
And I have to just nod my head and go, mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to be the one.
I don't want to explain which country. I'm like, dude. Yep. Mm-hmm. You're
Thank you very much. Just, yeah. But if Iran was reliant upon the United States to survive, so if they had a product that they needed to export and the rest of the free world had to buy it, it would be a completely different game because you'd have something on them.
Well, also, you mean like oil?
Yes.
But also, a new meme is starting to come out, which I really kind of like.
Although, this has always been a question that I've had. Is the whole green movement because we want to fuck over the people that have the oil that are producing it and we want their power to be gone? Because overall, it ain't us. I mean, I know the United States can pump out a lot of oil, but the world's oil overall comes from some bad countries when it comes to Russia, Saudi Arabia, Iran.
I don't know what you mean by bad countries.
You know, the ones people consider bad. I mean, I'm not saying I even agree.
You mean American competitors?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
The evil axis.
Yeah. The evil axis. Yes. The damn BRICS competitors to the American hegemony.
So it's like, is this one of the reasons why if you get rid of the need for the global, to need the fuel,
but that makes zero sense because
half these things people do make zero sense.
Yeah, very much zero sense. Because if you want to transition to bullshit electric, then you're talking to even worse countries to get your materials.
Like Holland?
No, like Sudan.
Oh, well, yeah, we don't want that.
Or what was the other one that was big there? But yeah, all these countries that are like lithium mines and nickel mines, all the heavy evil material, and it's all child labor, every single one of them. So yeah,
I think we need to get rid of all energy
countries.
Yeah, and countries, right? We want that's all depends.
The more I see what's happening in this country, the more I'm thinking that we should reconsider having a monarchy.
Who should be king, though?
No way they could do worse, first of all. But having somebody that is just an appointment for life, and the only real danger to them is getting beheaded if the population revolts.
Is that all?
Has to be a better system than what we currently have, which is people that are effectively elected for life and are completely working against the majority of the population in the country.
Well, yeah, that is one of the big issues. Is
at least a monarch owns the damn country, so they have some incentive to do things that are good for the country. What we have are people that literally do everything they possibly can to exploit the country.
Yeah, and it's on the very local level. It's not like you're just talking about the president. The people that are elected to be your representatives in the House, that physical area for those people, not huge.
Yeah.
And most of the time, they don't give a shit what their constituents say. And then they still get reelected, which is where the people get the government they deserve.
Yeah, they do. And I've been saying that forever. And this is why America is in the worst shape it's ever been. It's because all you got to do is look at the government we have, which is the one we deserve.
I should run for the House. Let's both run for the House. Then we can enjoy our show and get paid.
It'd be like tax deferred and everything, right? Or whatever.
And we'd make $450,000, whatever it is, a year now for the House.
Is that what it is?
What is the House? Is that maybe? Is that
I don't
the
think
Senate?
It's quite that high, but they're all millionaires. You know, as soon as you get in there, you become a millionaire. It's automatic.
Well, it's because you then get to do the insider trading thing.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
The House of Representatives is $174,000 right now per year.
Oh, well, that's kind of low.
But that never goes away, I think, right? I think there's, and you get that
No.
in abeyance forever.
No, you don't.
I think you do.
I don't think you do, dude. No, because then a lot more people would be doing it.
Right. Well, this is kind of what I'm thinking. You only have to be elected once.
No,
And
that's not how that works.
the House of Representatives, the original salary in 1789, $6.
That's pretty good.
That
back
is
then, $6 was made of gold back then.
Yeah, well, in our 2023 money, that's like $147. And then it went crazy for a while. Holy cow. I didn't realize that.
That's because you give people the power to rate their own salaries.
Yeah. And then it just keeps going up and up
Yep.
and up
and
up.
Yeah.
174 per year.
Yeah.
If you're the vice president, you get in $284,000.
Right. Which is less than you would get as an advance on a future book that somebody else writes for you.
Yeah, well, that was the beauty of the having a product to sell. It seems like the talk is Nike is going to give that female basketball player who's only getting $74,000 to play in the WNBA or $76,000 a $10 million plus dollar deal.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, damn.
Yeah.
What is I want to know what their pensions are, because I think it's pretty good.
Jesus.
I think it's pretty damn good.
Anyway, while you're looking that up, so the thing that I've noticed has been interesting is that I started saying is becoming a meme is the change from this being a war between Israel and Iran is people are saying that it's not actually Iran. It is the what do they call themselves? I'm really good today with remembering shit, aren't they?
B12, and it's all stuff you're bringing up too, which is a beautiful.
I know it's like exactly. But it's like the full name of Iran. It's the Islamic Republic of Iran, right? It's kind of like the CCP for China. So the full name of Iran is the Islamic Republic of Iran. Well, there apparently are plenty of people from Iran in Western countries now that are making the distinction saying, hey, Israel is not at war with Iran. Israel is at war with the Islamic Republic that took over Iran and stole the country. So they're seeing Israel fighting Iran as a good thing because they would love to see the Islamic Republic, not the People's Republic, the Islamic Republic of Iran go away and Iran become once again a non-theocracy, but just a regular, non-religious
secular
government.
Type, right? Government.
Secular, exactly. Yeah. So it is interesting. I have not seen that up until now, but I've now watched several videos of people making that point. It's like, quit calling the Republic of Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran, quit calling it Iran because it's not Iran.
But it is.
Well,
but it's not.
I mean, it's the shorthand name for it, certainly. But I think their distinction is that Islamic Republic of Iran is kind of like the Soviet Union, right? It's a communist thing in the Soviet Union case. It's a theocratic Muslim thing in this case, whereas Russia, the country, was not communist, and Iran, the country, was not a theocracy. But, again, people have the governments they deserve. So it's hard to argue. If there is a push in Iran to overthrow the Islamic government of that country.
And there have been, and this has happened in the past.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of how we got the Islamic Republic of Iran, is that the CIA overthrew the government of Iran and we instilled a Shah of Iran. That was,
and they fixed everything.
And they had very Western. The whole country was very Western. There's actually a good movie about it that I can't remember the title of, amazingly.
Well, of course.
Yeah, of course. I'm so useless today. And I really need to start taking vitamin B, don't I?
Why aren't you? You should be.
I mean, I don't know. And there were plenty of problems with the Shah of Iran. There was certainly enough justification for the lavish lifestyle and the selling off the assets of the country to the Western world that it's not surprising that there was a revolution to overthrow the Shah. I think the problem that a lot of people are finding now is that, unfortunately, the people that did the overthrowing brought in a theocratic government rather than a different secular government.
And that was the domino that was the first one to fall and cause what you have now.
Well, I think in a lot of ways, that's what led to the Iran-Iraq war. Is because once the government of the whole country was theocratic and it's Shia, then they started fighting with the Sunnis. And because really Iraq, prior to the U.S. invasion of Iraq, was a fairly Western country. They were not a theocracy. They were relatively pro-Western. Saddam Hussein was visiting the United States with some regularity in Europe. There's pictures of him with Dick Cheney. You know, it's like we completely created the image of Saddam Hussein as being this evil dictator, where literally a decade earlier, not even a decade, like 5 years earlier, the image that we had was, you know, he's the freedom fighter fighting against the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of times it goes from, hey, there are good buddies to...
kind of like the Taliban, which we created.
Things are going to go horribly wrong soon, yeah.
Or ISIS, which we created and are having some troubles with. So
why would you think that?
I don't know. So, yeah, it's an interesting spin. I don't know if it's going to stick, but I think what they're trying to do is say that Israel isn't actually fighting Iran. Israel is just fighting the Islamic Republic that's in Iran. And if they can defeat the Islamic Republic, then they have no problem with Iranian people bringing in a government that you know doesn't want to kill all Israelis.
Right. What's the concept that the government is different than the population, which we see that in the United States. I don't think the average person believes what the political elite do. I don't think their views are the same.
I agree with that. I think that's true. However, it doesn't remove the culpability from the population for everything done in their name.
Oh, well, that's true because most people have no idea what's being done in their name.
Well, it doesn't matter whether they have an idea or not. They keep re-electing these people.
Right. Because they have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. So they're fully culpable.
At least they should be. It's like, hey, if you're going to vote, your name should be on a list. You made that decision. Now, if you want to be ignorant, then just don't vote.
Yeah, but if you don't vote, you're still voting. You're just voting for whoever the majority elects. You don't care.
Well, isn't that what we're doing now? We have states that are going, well, we don't want to use our electoral votes for what our state votes. We want to put that on the popular vote of the country.
Yeah. Yeah. There's states that have done that.
Because they're idiots.
They can do that if they want. I mean, there's nothing says they can't.
Right. Which is why it's like all of this stuff should be allowed to the states. And it's hilarious when people are like, oh, no, that's bad. It's like, you're an idiot.
Yeah. The whole point of the Electoral College, which a lot of people miss, is that this literally started when we had the 13 colonies. is we had large colonies like New York and Pennsylvania, and we had small colonies.
Yeah, those were the black colonies. They were the good
black
ones.
colonies, exactly. We had small ones like Connecticut and New Jersey, I guess, as well. At least it's way smaller than New York or Pennsylvania, and it's kind of stuck between them. And the smaller colonies didn't want to agree to anything that would just give power to the big ones. And so this is why our Congress looks the way it does. Why there's two senators from every state to counterbalance the crazy number of representatives that are based on population, because population shouldn't be the only thing. And because the same thing just was, happening as the country grew,
right?
We still have a system where the individual states mean more than just simply the raw numbers of the vote of the population. If it was up to the population, then basically every election would be decided by people in California and New York State, and that's it.
Well, that's why I think it's hilarious that people that are for the abolishment of the Electoral College don't understand why it was created and how it works, because they're afraid of Donald Trump being elected again.
Yeah.
But the Electoral College is put into place specifically to keep a populist from winning, where
that's true.
Like you're going about it completely wrong. Yeah. And again, they all think that the same numbers, they all want to look at previous elections and base, well, you see, if we didn't have the Electoral College, it's like, but then it's new rules and people play differently.
Yeah.
Because then you're advertising to the people that wouldn't normally vote in California, New York, Illinois for the Republicans, because it's like, well, my state's never going Republican. All those people who wouldn't normally vote would go out and vote. So you can't make the case that, oh, well, no, obviously the Democrat would win if we got rid of the Electoral College. I don't think that's necessarily the truth. I think the Republicans might be the ones that would benefit from a killing of the Electoral College, but they're the ones that don't want that. Because the question then becomes, how many people in the country actually are Republican and how many are Democrat? I mean, I know you can switch election to election, but the reality is,
the definition of those things changes. Well, let me ask you this. So given where we are today and all the things that have happened, what do you think the odds are of A, Trump winning the election, and B, actually being president?
I believe him getting the votes right now is about 50-50, meaning if we had a completely fair election with the system we currently have with the Electoral College, I think it's 50-50 from everything. And I know it's kind of a cop-out, but the polling...
That's like a double cop-out, because you're saying if the situation was magically in a state where there was no cheating,
right,
and it was all fair, and even in that situation, I have no idea, so it could be one or the other.
Yes, it's that close from, if you believe the polling, which I don't, but most of the polling seems to be within the margin of error when it comes to either one of these candidates. But then the question, would he be president? Yes, I think if you looked at the scenario that he wins and there's nothing that even the most ardent cheating is going to do, if it's obvious that, yes, he was elected, no question he takes office, because I don't think anything can keep him from it. No matter, at this point, once you're elected president again, you can pardon whoever the fuck you want. So it doesn't matter what Alvin Bragg or...
Here's what I think. I'm a lot more pessimistic on this, even though I will vote for him when the time comes. First of all,
there's no
I'm not
other
sure
option.
he's going to be alive by the time the election happens.
Biden or Trump or both?
Trump. I'm sticking strictly about Trump. I don't care about Biden. He's just the shill for Obama, but who's the actual president right now. But as far as Trump, I'm not sure he's going to be alive during the election. I think that there's a more than one person on the left side that is going to be happy to take the chance to take him out. So that's one thing. Beyond that, I think that the Democrats will double down on all the irregularities that happened last election, with votes showing up magically at the end of the night,
or the end of the week, or the month,
or the year, that are all like from every city. They're coming in, 52-48, and all of a sudden these will come in like 90-10. So 90% for Democrat.
Yes, within the same districts. I mean, we know there are some
and
districts.
Let's say that they actually do have enough votes to call him the winner. I think there will be so many lawsuits filed immediately to invalidate the election, to pull back votes, to call into question the legitimacy, to say you cannot have him be sworn in. There's way too many irregularities here to allow this. So all the stuff that the Republicans tried to do and miserably failed at
when they were called election deniers and said they should be jailed,
should happen to win, which I'm not thinking he will, but if he does, the Democrats will have way more success in pushing back on that and delegitimizing the election than the Republicans ever had. And let's say he even gets through all that and he's sworn in, day one of his presidency, he will be impeached. So I think...
Well, that's going to happen no matter what.
I've been saying for 4 years now, the stupidest thing the Republicans can do is run Trump a second time.
Well, there had to be a better answer. Although he's not going to be impeached if the Republicans take massive control of the House.
They won't. They're going to lose the House. It'll be a Democrat House, Democrat Senate. And if Trump wins the presidency, then he will immediately be impeached.
Yeah, which is going to again be 4 years of...
And they're going to get a bunch of Republicans, because you know how many of the Republicans currently in the House and Senate hate Trump? Like there's 25 of them that don't. Everybody else does not like Trump.
So the question is, how could you not have come up with a better solution?
Well, and what now the real question is, when one of those scenarios that I pointed out happens, what will be the response? Because the last response was, we're gonna go take a tour of the congressional building, right? AKA January 7th.
Well, 6th. There was something yesterday. I have not dove too deeply into it, but it was something the Supreme Court ruled on that's making it much harder to go after the people that were there on January 6th, which is a good sign. It's making it very slightly harder. It's not making it much harder. It's removing one of the potential offenses, a kind of a ridiculous one, which was that these people are interfering with official duties of elected politicians. Right, by walking around aimlessly.
Yeah. So the idea being that you're preventing them from doing the work that they're supposed to be doing for the people. Now, I think it's one of the offenses that carries a fairly hefty prison sentence. So that's good that was removed. But all of these people were charged with a litany of different offenses. It wasn't like they were charged with a single offense and that's it. All of them have trespassing, which is ridiculous, because the way trespassing works, first of all, is you can only be trespassed from private property, somebody that owns it. I don't think government property applies. You should not be able to be trespassed from anything that the federal government owns, because it's public. And if it's like secret, like say, well, then I can go inside of the CIA. No, different issue. But you shouldn't be hit with a trespass, right? That's something that's reserved for actual
it's a public building.
Property owners.
Right.
So you can certainly be excluded from a military base. You can't just show up and get in, although some have tried.
Have you tried? Right. Well, yeah, read Red Cell.
I've actually gotten in, too. I've gotten into that. Yeah.
Yeah, read Red Cell by Richard Marcinko. And
Marcinko, great author.
He was a lot of fun.
Wonderful stories. Yeah.
But yeah, he pissed the government off bigly by going in and showing how bad the security was.
And the security was pretty crappy. Now, I remember back, this was in the 90s. We got into the Navy base in Coronado and also the Air Force base in just north of there. What was the name of the Air Force base in just north of San Diego? Can't remember. We got into both of them as civilians.
And so, how did you accomplish this, if you can say?
By wearing suits and ties.
That's it.
And looking like contractors.
They're like, don't go right on in. Nobody stops you.
Yeah, if you're talking to the other person in the car and you wave to the guard like they're a worthless piece of shit, and they look at what you're wearing and what you're driving, and, they just kind of flag you in. Now, I will say that the policy on that, the rules changed. We probably would not have been able to do that about a year later after the incident where the guy stole a tank and drove around San Diego. Do you remember that?
Yes, vaguely. Yes.
Yeah. So that I was out there with another guy where we were doing some security testing, and it was
you weren't the guy in the tank.
I was not the guy in the tank. That happened a year later. Yeah. But the security at the military bases was pretty ridiculously bad back then.
Yeah, they're like,
it is much better now.
Come in here, right?
It is. They've got the opposite problem now, which is if you stop within a block of the entrance of the base, they will actually come out and harass you. And if you don't leave, they will arrest you.
Well, what if you rent a plane and you fly right on in?
Well, I mean, you mean over or do you mean in?
I mean, over, and then I guess you'd have to parachute in.
Well, yeah, the only thing they really do if you do a flyover is, your radio is going to be telling you that you're crossing into restricted airspace.
Right, you're not supposed to be here.
Unless you're flying over something where the president happens to be, they're probably not going to fly and shoot you down.
That would be nice, but they're not going to do that.
And if you fly over in a balloon, then they'll let you take a tour of the whole country.
Well, yeah, if it's a big red balloon anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with a big communist flag on it.
Nothing wrong.
It's, but definitely insecurity, I think, has improved over the years. But the bottom line still being that we have we were talking about Trump, so I want to get back to that, is that I just don't see Trump as being able to accomplish a goddamn thing if he manages to both get elected and be sworn in as the president, because it will be a complete waste of time that he will be stymied at every turn through legal means. Because the one thing we do absolutely know is the Democrats own the court system in the country. Their courts are extremely corrupt at every level. And so you have cases that are brought in, and depending on the political leaning of the person that's in the case, the decision will be different, even though the circumstances might be identical.
Well, the reality is, for him to get anything done, he would need the Senate and the House. That's just,
yes,
without that,
exactly.
Nothing.
That's exactly right. Because here's what the other thing, Biden's been throwing executive orders around left and right. If Trump is elected, guaranteed 100%, there will be a bill restricting the executive orders of a president that goes through even before his first day.
Oh yeah, well that'll be the last.
They'll
thing
just
the
basically say, "Yeah, we've decided that the president no longer has the discretionary powers other than in the military. That's the one thing they can't fuck with is the military, because that's actually in the Constitution. Literally everything else the president does is at the will of Congress. They can restrict that, and they will restrict it. And because the courts are owned by Democrats, when this goes to court, the courts are going to say, yep, that is perfectly fine. Congress has the ability to restrict those powers. Because in fairness, I think the executive order powers are way too broadly applied these days by the current administration, but also idiotic. The past 5.
Yes.
Like there's a difference between the president saying, we need to transition troops from one military base to another as an executive order, or pardoning somebody as an executive order, and saying things like all the men and women that work for U.S. Border Patrol, their job now is to open all the gates and let all the illegals in and let the country be invaded. That's not a fucking executive order. That's treason.
Yeah. That's what we're dealing with.
And when the shoe is flipped, all these people that are perfectly fine with Biden doing it are going to call it out with Trump and say, nope, he can't do that through executive order. Nope, this has to go through Congress. The president is not allowed any leeway on this. So I think if Trump actually gets not just voted in, but sworn in, we're looking at basically 4 years of him doing absolutely nothing. Now, the good news is during that time, he also could not start any wars.
Right.
So there is some things he can do. But you remember when he was pulling troops out of Afghanistan, the generals said, okay, that sounds good, and then did nothing. They literally ignored the presidential order, even though he is, by the Constitution, the head of the U.S. military. Like, that is the guy who gives the 5-star his order. And yet they just kind of shrugged it off like, yeah, we don't have to pay attention to this president. We'll have a new one soon, and we can do it at whatever we want.
A lot of people still think Joe Biden will not be the candidate once we get to the convention, which is coming up soon.
I agree with that. I think there's a pretty good chance that the Democrats realize that they can't run a dead man. Like, he died a few years back.
Now,
and they're just keeping him on artificial resuscitation.
Well, he certainly can't speak. I mean, even if he is still, the guy that's carrying around the cards that are like, you take your seat, you say hello to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. An election cycle with no debates would also be a very
I always
weird
thought
thing.
They would flip Gavin Newsom in there at some point because he did such a great job in California.
Now, do you think that there's any chance the whole Republican thing also gets a flip, or this just Trump is too much of a guy looking for, rightfully revenge? I was really hoping that people would see that Vivek not only says things that coincide with Trump, but has actual plans on how to make changes. And he doesn't have any of the baggage that Trump has. He was not a womanizer. He's not a, well, what's wrong
he's
with
not
him?
Any of these. Yeah.
All the best presidents have been womanizers.
He's a vegetarian, like all these things. He's a guy that's should be liked a lot more by both sides. But when we look at the results of the what do you call them? The
polling
when we
numbers?
Selected who we had the elections by each party. What the fuck? Primaries. Yeah. So when we look at the primaries, he got like 4% or 6% or something.
Yeah, pretty low.
It was absurdly small number, and which is why he dropped out right away. But like, to me, that was the most depressing thing from the vote, because it tells me that the vast majority of people that are going to vote non-Democrat, so in this case Republican, but even if they're not Republicans, they don't want to vote Democrat. The vast majority of these people would rather vote for somebody who's going to be ineffective than vote for somebody that would be effective. like, why is Trump being pushed through? Because most people are using their
personality. That's it.
Feelings.
Right.
They're using their feelings. They're like, well,
he's a
you
populist.
you guys stole the election last time, so we'll show you. We'll bring him right back in there and prove that he's going to still win.
Well, maybe the Republicans are finally going to get on the "we can cheat better than you" train. I don't know. It's been a long time.
It ain't going to happen. No, it ain't going to happen. And I'll tell you, if Trump actually loses the election, boy, it's like, how many times do you need to have Lucy pull the damn ball out from under you before you stop trying to kick it?
Well, then it's over. There's no doubt about it. The Trump train is over at that point.
I hope so. I hope so, because people living with delusions is unhealthy. And we saw that with the whole Q crowd. It's all part of the plan.
Right.
Just got to trust the plan. There'll be 20 million National Guard that come in and arrest Biden and all the cronies. And like, what the fuck are you smoking that your brain is so screwed up that it believes in fantasy land and that you're predicting to be the reality? Like, it's literally impossible that would have happened.
And these dumbasses have had about 4 years now to find the evidence if anything is out there.
Yeah, there's none.
So if you can't find it, you can't use it.
Or more accurately, given that the courts are run by the Democrats, whatever some small bits of evidence exist.
You look at what's going on with Trump right now with the Stormy Daniels thing. It's like, it's a farce, but what do you think is going to happen to you?
He's going to be tied up in court from now until he's dead. Even regardless of whether he wins or loses, he will have a continuous barrage of court cases against him from now until he is in the ground.
I mean, he's going to be tied up in court, but did he tie up Stormy Daniels?
Probably not. I suspect he was probably too lazy for that. I mean, the whole thing with Stormy Daniels, my guess is all he was looking for was to be able to tell his buddies the next day, yeah, you know that porn star chick? Guess who I did last night? That's it. Like, it was a bragging right, more than likely, because he loves bragging. The best. He's the best at bragging. Nobody's better. And, now he's paying for it.
Literally.
All the lawsuits are obviously ridiculous. They're all bullshit. The only reason they're proceeding forward is because the Democrats own the courts. But I just don't think that the people that have an R next to their name have any spine or balls. You look at, what's his face? Johnson, the current Speaker of the House, saying about the reauthorization of the spying on American citizens illegally bill, that he was on the side of like, yeah, it's time to end this. It's been 24 years since the war. Maybe we shouldn't be spying on Americans anymore after 24 years. But then he had the secret meeting with the secret police there, and then came out of it being a big supporter of continuing to spy on Americans illegally. It's like, yeah, we're in a war. We gotta like still have our security here. What fucking war are we in? What's the war? What, Ukraine? Is that the war we're in? Is that what we're saying?
Hey, I just agree that it's totally time to end this.